breathe, cause I'm nervous. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Audrey Rose. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. It's been a while since I've uploaded, but something has been telling me to make this video for a few weeks now. It's taken a lot of courage to do this because it's not an easy topic, and I pretty much went through it with everybody in my life at this point in my life. So like, if you're a family now watching this, obviously you know we're in a good place, but I am going to talk about what we went through, and it's not an easy subject to talk about. So can't breathe cause I'm nervous. So this is my story about me being 14 and pregnant. I have some notes written down, so don't mind if I look at my phone. I just want to make sure I give you guys all of the tea, you know, tell it to you straight, give you all the details so I don't miss anything, and so I don't start rambling, because I will start rambling. So first things first, my name is Audrey Rose. I am currently 24 and my daughter Lux is 9. And that's usually how the conversation starts. Like, I'll be talking about her and they'll be like,
oh my god, I didn't know you have a daughter. How old is she?
and I'll be like, oh, she's 9. And they're like,
wait, what? How old are you?
and I'm like, I'm 24. And their little brains start working and churning, and they're like, wait, what? You're 24? She's da da da. You know, yes, I was 15 when I had my daughter. I was 14 when I got pregnant. Now she's just in school. I'm in school full time as well, and I work. So, and I'm working on my little YouTube career. She likes to film YouTube too, but I'm like wary about putting her on the internet. So I met her dad. We used to go to different schools, but I met her dad when I was 14 at a skating rink. So we all used to go to this little skating rink. They would have like a sleepover night where all the kids would come and spend the night and just be up all night skating and having fun. And we used to just hang out there with our friends. We started dating and hanging out a lot. This is how she was conceived. I remember this. I don't think I had ever spent the night at his house before, but it was like snowing really bad outside, and I think I got like stuck at his house or something, so I ended up spending the night. Yeah, that's when I started, my mom got comfortable with me spending the night there. I just ended up getting pregnant because we were 14 years old, not being supervised. So I don't remember exactly how I found out, but I think that my mom knew before me because she used to keep track of my periods. I don't remember like what made me go take a pregnancy test, but I did, and it was positive. I told him, and of course he was scared, and we didn't really think about other options. So I finally told my mom, and she was very upset with me. She was very mad. I remember the look on her face when I told her. She was just like so pissed. And she was like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, well, I'm gonna keep it. And so that was that. And I remember at the time I was scared, but when you're 14, you don't really have a concept of really anything. You're just like young and in the world, just there. So I wasn't that scared, honestly. I was just like, okay, this is happening, like, let's do this. And I remember for the longest time I was trying to get him to tell his parents, and he wouldn't do it. So that's when I was feeling scared. That's when I was like, I just didn't know what was gonna happen or how they would feel. Like, I already knew my mom was mad. I didn't know how they were going to feel. So I kept pushing him. I'm like, when are you going to tell your parents? When are you going to tell your parents? And I don't remember. I think I was like 4 or 5 months when he told them. And they were happy. They were so happy, which was so cool. So they like totally embraced it. Yeah, that was really cool. I was like, okay, we're doing this then. Like, there's no like second thought about it, you know? Around this time, I was around 4 months, and I was just really sick all the time. I was throwing up. I remember I was sitting in science class my freshman year, and I just like got up and ran to the bathroom. I was so sick. All I wanted to do was sleep. I was sleeping from the time I got home from school until the next morning, and some days I just like wouldn't even go to school because I was so incredibly tired. And I remember I would watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World on repeat. That was my shit when I was pregnant. I started to get really uncomfortable being like alone in my house all day, being pregnant. And so I asked my mother if I could move in with him so I could be close to him and he could be there for us, and you know, that's just what I wanted to do. And surprisingly, she was cool with it. I'm pretty sure she didn't want to take care of me and a baby at the time. So I moved in with him, and it was really nice. They gave us like the biggest room in the house. It wasn't the master, but it was like this living room, and it had like French doors on it, and we split the room in half. So one side was our bed and the other side was Lux's room. We literally painted one side gray and the other side pink. It was so cute. And we had her shoes lined up, and we had her crib over there, and it was really good. So I started going to his school, and I went for 1 semester. I just remember I was making straight A's. I was so sick that I couldn't go to school, and I couldn't walk either. Like my joints and my bones were like literally like scraping together like this. Every time I moved, they would just like, it was so painful. So I had requested that the nurse or whoever give me an elevator pass so I could take the elevator in between my classes, because I would literally have to go one class, next class, one class, next class, up and down the steps. And I'm like, my joints and my hips cannot take this. Like my 14-year-old body, I cannot take this anymore. And they wouldn't give it to me. They were like, you need exercise. I'm like, okay, y'all are assholes. So one day his stepfather was driving me to school, driving us all to school, and I was just sitting there. I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I don't want to go to school today. He was like, you don't have to go to school today. I was like, are you for real? He was like, yeah, if you want to stay home, you can. It's fine. I was like, okay. So he just took me back home. And after that, I started looking into like homeschooling, and I requested to drop out of the school. And the principal was so mean. She was the same one that wouldn't let me get the elevator pass. She was like, I'm not having a dropout in my school during my term, like da, da, da. I was like, okay, but can you sign this paper so I can get out of here, because you're not helping me at all. So I dropped out, and I literally just stayed home until the end of my pregnancy. It was really chill. His parents were so supportive and so sweet to me. They bought me food. They bought me whatever I needed, whatever I wanted. Like I used to eat really healthy when I was pregnant, so I had like my own fridge in my room where I would keep my own food and stuff. And I used to sit there and play Sims and Xbox all day, and until I had Lux. So when I had Lux, I was 2 weeks late, so she had to be induced. She was originally supposed to come in December, but she came January 6th, 2 weeks late. I started taking the Pitocin at 4 p.m. and I didn't have her until like 12:36 or something like that the next day. So it was pretty long and intense. I did get an epidural. The labor part to me wasn't as painful as my entire pregnancy was. Like my pregnancy was so much on my body. I was just sick and aching and in pain constantly. Like it was not fun. So the labor really wasn't that bad to me. It's not as scarring as some people say it is. But I just think I was very relieved. I think I was really relieved. As soon as I had her, like probably the same day, the social workers came into my room and they were like, how old are you? How old is your child's father? Where do you live? Like da da da. And they literally had to, like, I don't know, I didn't think anything of it, but then the day that I came home, like 2 days later, that same social worker came to my house and was like, you guys can't stay here. You guys are both under the age of consent. I think it's like 16 maybe. You guys are both under the age of consent. You can't stay in the same room together. Like this is illegal. And I literally just broke down crying. I was like, why are you in my house? Like, this is my baby. Like, we're fine. We're happy. Like, da-da-da. I was just like, why is this happening to me? And they were like, you have to move. Like, he has to stay in another room. So it was so funny because his parents were like, okay, cool. He's going to move to this room. And she was like, okay, we'll be back in 3 days to check and make sure that he's not staying in this room anymore. And they were like, okay. So when the lady left, I was like, why does he have to stay in a different room? Like, da-da-da. And she was just like, Audrey, we're gonna put his shoes in that room when they come check it, and he's not going nowhere. It's fine. Like, I was like, oh, okay. I was just like so emotional. I was like so freaked out. I was like, what's gonna happen to me and my baby? Da-da-da. But everything turned out being fine. So I don't know what happened, but like, I just know that I found out he was cheating on me because I found condoms in his car, and obviously we weren't using condoms. So I think he like moved into like the garage area and was like sleeping there or something. I don't know. Like, I just remember him not really being there a lot, and I was there with him and his parents at his house. And it just like threw me into this depression where I felt like a robot. Like, I really had postpartum. I specifically remember this one time I was feeding Lux. I was sitting in a chair. She was in her high chair, and I just felt like a robot, like, feeding her. I was just like, this is what I'm meant for. I'm just meant to feed this child. And like this, I just felt so incredibly empty. And this was when she started eating, so eating solid foods. So maybe before that we were good for a little bit. And I remember I used to sorry, I'm like backtracking, but I remember I used to go out on the treadmill every day and run, and he would watch her for me and things like that. And then I don't know, we just started becoming a little bit estranged, and I just decided like I wasn't really happy there. It was kind of a weird dynamic for me being there without him, with his parents. But they were so helpful and sweet to me. But I remember I wanted to go back and live with my mom so bad, and she didn't want me to. She wouldn't let me. She was like, no. So she still doesn't know this, so when she watches this, she's probably gonna laugh now, but it's just crazy. So I had told his parents, I was like, listen, I really want to move back home. My mom is telling me no. I need you to tell her that you're kicking me out. Please, the next time you see her, tell her you're kicking me out and I cannot stay here anymore. And they did it. So the next time that she came over, they were like, we need to talk to you. She's not doing well over here. Like, she needs to get back in school, and she's not doing that, and she can't live here anymore. And I remember I was like fake crying. I was like, like whatever to get me out. And my mom was just like, okay. And I moved back in with my mom. So obviously she wasn't happy. Even before, sorry, I keep backtracking. That's why I need to have my notes out. But I think while I was living with them, I went and got my GED. So I did go get my GED. I got it in 7 days, and I tested out everything. I was really smart. I tested, you had to pass certain tests, and if you didn't pass them, you would have to take the full classes for a few weeks. But I passed all the tests within like 7 to 11 days, and I got my GED. So I did finish high school. So I moved out of that house with them, and I moved in with my mom. And around this time, Lux was probably almost one at this point. And I was still very depressed. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. I was just like at home with Lux all day. But I was happier at my mom's house, so I didn't feel like the direct pressure of her dad not being there for me. So we moved to a couple houses. And the next house we moved into, we moved with my aunt. And that's where I got my first job. I used to walk every day to and from work. It wasn't that far. It was probably like 10-15 minutes, but I didn't have a car. used to walk every day to this restaurant. I was a server. I would work 12-hour shifts, probably 3 to 4 days a week. And my mom wasn't really there. She had to move to Michigan to take care of my grandmother who was sick. So it was just kind of me and Lux, and I would send her over to her grandmother's house whenever I had to work, and she would just come home for those 3 or 4 days that I didn't have to work. And still, his parents were really supportive. They would pick her up and drop her off whenever I needed, and she actually took me, his mom actually took me to go get my driver's license at the time. So my mom paid for driving classes for me, and then Brandy took me to go get my driver's license, which I'm so grateful for to this day, because otherwise I don't know, it would have taken me forever to get my driver's license. But yeah, I'm so grateful for that. So I got my car. Yeah, this is when things got really sticky in my life. Like, I just felt like kind of everybody turned on me, and I'm not really sure why. Like, I already knew that my mom was upset with me, but when I got my license, I drove myself to work the next day, and I got off at like 10 or something. I think it was a Sunday, and I wanted to go get Lux, and they wouldn't let me pick her up. They were like, no, she can't come with you, like, you just got your license, you can't drive yet. And I had like picked her up some Wendy's on the way home, and I was so pissed. I was literally like, I knocked on their door, I seen that they like peeked through the window and then acted like they weren't home, and then I like just kept knocking on the door. I'm like, I'm coming to get my daughter, are you crazy? So yeah, it just got really heated, and I got really upset, and I left without her. But I threw the bag of Wendy's at their house. I was like, take this shit, like, fuck you, I want my daughter, like, da da da. So I just drove home, and the next day, and I was actually, let me rewind. So by this time, I had, my mom and my aunt wanted to move out of that house that they were in. So I told my mom, I was like, I literally need like 3 more weeks to be able to move into my own place. And she was like, okay, that's fine. So literally the first day that she moved out of that place and got her a new apartment, and I was there with her, she kicked me out. So I got kicked out of her house, and I called this girl that I used to work with, who is now my very best friend. We're best friends, like, she's my day one. Her name's Missy. She does my lashes. I actually need a fill right now, but yeah, so I called her. I was like, listen, can I come stay with you? I'll give you some gas money. And she was like, okay. So she came pick me up. I gave her like $5-10 gas money, and I was like, listen, I just need to stay with you for a couple weeks, can I do that? And she was like, fine, whatever. So I paid rent. I used to pay half her bills when I stayed there. Everything was cool. I ended up getting my, so like back to where we were at, I ended up getting my license and tried to go get Lux that one night. Didn't work out for me. And the next morning, Brandy actually showed up with Lux and was like, here's your daughter. Sorry about last night. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Everything's fine. And so I was like, okay, cool. So that was that. And what's crazy is the fact that my mom kicked me out, and I said I needed 3 weeks, and I literally took 3 weeks, and I had my house. Like, all I needed was 3 weeks to stay with her, and she just wasn't having it. She really did not want to take care of Lux and I at the time. I got my first house in the hood. I can't believe I even stayed there, honestly. The rent was $500. That was all I could afford. I would never stay in a place like that now. I mean, I would if I had to, but I think I would hustle I would hustle so hard so I don't have to stay somewhere like that now. Like, I can't even believe I did that. Like, it was a pretty scary place, but I mean, we ended up turning out fine. But it was 3 bedrooms. It was $500 a month. I didn't have cable. I just like barely had anything. A lot of the stuff that I had was like given to me. I had to buy an oven and a dishwasher. Not a dishwasher. I had to buy an oven and a washer and dryer. I got those for like $100 each. And I had some like hand-me-down sofas. The place was cute though. It had like tile flooring and had a lot of natural light. It was really cute. And I used to take Lux to this preschool around the corner. So, and I remember like, I don't know why, but her dad did not want me to put her in preschool, but I did anyways because I felt like she needed it. So I did that, and then because he didn't want me to put her in preschool, I was like, you're not around, but you're trying to tell me what to do with her, and that's not okay with me. So I actually took him to court at that time just to try to get some stability in our relationship. So it was really long and hard, and we ended up having joint custody, but because I had primary physical where like she lives with me basically, he had to pay child support, and it was $200. He hasn't paid child support in years, and honestly I don't even care. I just want him to leave me alone and let me do what I need to do when it comes to Lux. I'm not here for the money, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to have a healthy and happy child and an educated child, and that's what I have. She goes to a really nice private school out here. She's happy. She has everything she needs. She doesn't want for anything, like, except for regular kid stuff, but she literally has everything. She's just such a doll, and she's so happy. And you know, we're all cool now. Like, me and her dad we're fine. Like, he has a wife now and she has 2 kids, and she goes over there every other weekend, and me and my mom are super cool. She's so helpful now. I think she realized that, you know, that I really do need her, and it does take a village to raise children. So I'm just glad that she's come around and she's in our lives more actively now. And me and Brandy, we obviously still have a great relationship. She goes over there every other weekend as well, or as much as she can. She spends weeks over there in the summer. So it's been a long journey. Like, she's 9 years old. It's been a long time. She's not little anymore, and the kinks have worked itself out, and I'm just so proud of Lux, and I'm so proud of myself for how far we've come. Like, it's amazing, and I really need to remind myself of that. Like, I need to think more often about the house in the ghetto that we used to live in that costed $500, you know, when I just was a waitress and drove a 90, I think I had like a 96 or 98 Impala. It was trash. Like, I mean, my grandfather gave that car to me, which I'm so grateful for, but it was literally like, I tore that thing up so bad that I think the steering wheel didn't even work. Like, I don't know, when I turned that car in, it was worth $200 at CarMax. So I just need to remember where I came from when I start doubting myself, because I really came a long way. That is my story of me being 14 and pregnant. I had my 15th birthday when I was pregnant, and I had her when I was 15. I'm just really proud of us and how far we've come, and I thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know if there's any other details of this story you guys want to know. I kind of just gave like a little briefing of everything. You could definitely do a part 2 if you guys want it, but just let me know. But I love you guys so much, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.